Hello, welcome back to 3D Drawing for Model Railway. Last lesson we continued working on the conveyor belt area on this rear spoil conveyor. Today's episode I'm going to continue working again in that area, looking to add more of the detailed parts on the upright here and anything else we may have missed in this area to try and just finish this area off if we can. So hopefully you're able to follow along. If you get any questions, please leave a comment below and yeah, we'll see how we go. Okay, so first nice easy fix is we've got this bar that goes across on the top part here, so it should be relatively easy adding on the top. I'm just going to spin the model round so you're looking from the middle inwards, creating a sketch on the inside face of this upright, and then we're just going to use the circle tool. We can find the centre point of this arc at the top here, and let's go for 0.5 millimeters in diameter. Again, it's going to give us a reasonably strong bar there, and we just extrude that. We're just going to bring that across to the centre line of the wagon, so that of the unit, so that obviously it's going to match up when we move it across. That's a nice, easy little fix on that one there. Looking on the other side, it does come slightly through. So what we could do, wait a minute, I've not checked the radio thing, so let's undo that. Undo that sketch, and we'll go down to which is in the fuel tank. Check the body in here. Yep. So let's just fix that now. So quick little sketch on the inside. Circle, centre point 0.5. Extrude. Okay, so I'm going to change that to two-sided. So one side we're going to bring across to the centre line, and if we take the other side, we can drag that through, change to join. It'll just come through just a tiny little bit, so I'm bringing this across 1 millimeter. That's just going to give that little protrusion on the other side that will be modelable. Okay, so the next thing we're looking at is, I was showing this to a friend of mine. He pointed out that he thinks these might be spaced slightly differently. So he thinks these top two are closer than the bottom two, and I sort of tend to agree with that. So we can come back into that feature and just edit this one. So if we edit this feature, what I'm going to do is change it to just be two of them. And that should just be the top and bottom one. The combine's not working, but we can come back and fix that. If I roll this history back, I can then do another pattern, selecting the feature, and actually the body. So do that one, direction, vertical, two of them. I'm just going to just make this one just a little bit closer than the bottom two. 5.5, so 2.5. That's slightly bigger than this one. So yeah, I'm going to have 2.5 on that. So there is a slight offset between them. We edit the feature of the combine, so let's just get rid of that. Keep the target body, which is the conveyor, and then we can just add in 4 parts there. Click on OK, that fixes that yellow warning. Things then back to normal. We've got this slight space in it, so that's 2.4, 1.9 between. So there is a half mil difference. It's not a massive amount, but it is a difference. Obviously, we've got this little cutout on here. So if we have a look at the photo that's end on, we can see what's going on there. So we've got a little cutout in the shield here, so we can just add that in. I'm looking at it, it's on the left hand side of what we've got, so if we rotate this round, it's going to be cut out of this part, and it's going to be closer to the top. So we can create a sketch on this part here, so between the bottom and the middle, create a rectangle, and I'm just going to draw something like that shape. So let's go for, let's take that, 0.5. maybe 1 millimetre in height. How's that look? Probably a little bit big actually. So maybe 0.8. Dimension from the top. So bring that to 0.35, just to be a little bit closer. Yeah, I think I'm happy with that. And then we can extrude this just through this top surface as a cut. And that'll give us that cutout that's in the picture here. Okay, so at the top half of the conveyor belt, there's a triangular piece that comes up and over the top here. So we need to do that because it's got to mount into this pivot part here. Okay, so I'm going to draw a sketch on the side surface here. And I'm going to draw a line that's going to come. So see how it goes up, and it's supposed to be matching this, but because this doesn't quite line up how we want it, I'm going to come across the top, then parallel to this bar here. So let's go, say 1.2 millimeters. 1.2 millimeters. And then we'll come down, project that line on, come down diagonally to that line, like that. Okay, let's put some dimensions in, so angle in the middle there, I'm going to go 45, I'm going to parallel that line to that line, which is already constrained, and the height of this 1.6. That's all then constrained. Spin this round, we should be able to select this profile in here now. No, it needs to be closed off. So it's the bottom bit. So if we draw a line from there to there, that's then close that profile off. We can extrude that to that point, so it's a join. And that's just giving that representation of this part that comes up over the top, which is pivots along. Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at is along the side here we've got a hydraulic ram. Now obviously this is used to be able to pivot this out. So we can draw that, and it sort of sits on this part, comes down. Unfortunately there's nothing really that shows a great image of where it connects to, but I believe it's sort of on the bottom here, so we're coming up this sort of position. The biggest issue I think is going to be the thickness of the parts and how it connects. And unfortunately there's not really any great photos that show looking from the unit this way and see how far out it comes. Again, yeah, I think we're just going to have to do a representation of it. So, how are we going to do this? I think the first thing I'm going to do is make this part a little bit thinner. So what we could do is come back in the history. This part here. Edit that picture. Yeah, so what I've done there is I've changed the start position to an offset of minus 0.4, which has moved the start position of where it's drawn. I'm just going to do a distance of 0.4, so it's going to be half as thick now, but it will be inside slightly, which will make it easier to get the ram to come down the side here. Okay, so how do I want the ram to be on here? Let's think. Let's go construct offset plane from that face. I'm just going to come towards by 0.2 millimeters. I'm going to draw a line on that offset face coming from. So we're going to have to start in this sort of area here, and the ram comes down to just below where that cutout is, so about this area here. Yeah, okay, so we've got that. And if we do a pipe on that path, let's change this to, let's go for maybe 0.8 millimeters in diameter. We want that to be a join. How does that look compared to that? Probably not far off actually, size wise. It's maybe a little bit big. Let's just bring that up slightly. So we'll bring that to 0.75. Is that going to be okay? No. No, actually, because the time I put a collar, a thicker collar than a thinner part, it's probably not going to be far off actually. So if we go with that in that position there, let's turn the chassis off so we can actually see what we're looking at here. Create a sketch on inside surface. Again, using the circle, making it slightly bigger. So that was 0.8. So if we go 1 millimeter, select the profiles. And extrude by 0.3. Probably actually needs to be a little bit thicker than that. Let's go 0.4, 0.5. Okay, and we'll do another circle on the bottom of there, again using the centre point. This one's going to be slightly smaller, so we've done 0.8 as the top one, so let's go 0.6. That's the bit that's inside the sleeve. And if we bring that down, I'm going to bring that down so actually, no, I don't. I'm going to come down a millimetre, I think. Okay, so that rams there, okay. So what I want now is like the connecting parts, top and bottom. So this has got like an oval part on the top. So if we create a sketch on the inside face of the surface here, project on that line. I'm going to use a rectangle. I'm going to go from side to side and bring it up. So 0.8 should be the width. And I'm going to do a height of 0.75. And I'm going to fill it off the top two corners, just rounding these down to 0.4. Finish the sketch, select these profiles, and extrude this out across 1 millimeter, so it brings it out level with this. Okay, and then on the side here we'll draw a little circle to act as like the locating point. Find the midpoint, I'm going to do 0.4 and just extrude that by 0.1. So what we've got there is this part over the top and the little pivot point on the top. We have something similar on the bottom. Again, you know, it's not as per the actual thing, but I think it's reasonably close enough. And for this one, I think I'm going to draw it off of this surface here. Again, using a rectangle, I'm going to go from up there. It's probably going to be fine. We want a 3-point rectangle, so it can match up with this line here. So start there, come down 0.8 millimeters, snap that line, and then we'll go across. 7 looks like it's going to be okay. I think what I'm going to do is fill it off that corner. Extrude that back into the inside face, turn it to join. And again on this inside surface, I'm going to just draw a circle pivot point in the middle there. 4 again. Extrude that by 0.1. So again, we're not looking at exact representation, exact modelling, but we're looking at more like a representation of what we've got there, that ramp down the side. And then next to it, we've got this like solid beam here. Again, that's on both sides, so we can create a sketch on the side surface. It seems to come up, covers the bottom and top of these slightly. So pretty much the full length of the ramp. So we're going to be using a 3-point rectangle so we can match the angle. So if we select like that, we'll go, I think maybe 0.75 width. Drag this back up. So let's try and get this in the right position. So that's snapped to the edge, I don't want that on the end. I'll move it across slightly. Define that so it can't move to there. That's 0.2. Height wise, where are we going to? I'm thinking about there actually, it's not probably far off. It does go above this. Then we hang out the top. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, define that height. Let's do that as an angle. 9.4 millimeters. Okay, now we've got to try and select all these parts. That one, that one. That's it. Extrude all these. Okay, 0.5 millimeters. Okay, so that's this part done. Looking on the photos, we've got another roller here which is holding the belt, so we can add that in here as well. So I think I'm going to draw from the inside surface of this part here. I'm going to put it, where's it hanging down from? So between those two parts. So that's in this area here. We'll draw a sketch on that surface. We slice through, so drawing down here, matches the angle of the upright, so 3-point circle, 3-point rectangle. Let's go 0.5, snap it and bring it down. So it'll come below the roller here because the belt comes over the top. So let's go 1.75, I think, and we extrude that. I'm going to go 0.5. No, let's go 2 side actually. So 0.2 to the left, 1.25 to the left, and then 0.5 to the right there. So what I've essentially done, let's spin this round, I've come this way slightly and then more going back the other way. And then we'll roll it in this area here. We might need this a little bit longer. That to fit the roller on. So we'll change that to 1.9, I think. Let's define some distances, so there to there. And then on the inside of that, we can draw a circle. We're going to make sure it touches the belt. We're going to draw a line coming up here. I'm going to turn that line into a construction line. And put a circle on that line that touches the belt. 0.4 diameter. And I'm going to extrude that to the inside surface of the model. Close the join. And that's touching the belt, obviously having a little bit of support in there as well for that belt. So you can't really see the roller, but this upright you can definitely see on the model here. And that's got rounded corners actually, so let's go and do that. So if we go back into the sketch, what we can do then is fillet off these 2 corners. It doesn't like that fit for some reason. Let's change the radius to 0.25 on that one. Fillet that corner, 0.25. That looks better. Okay, I'm thinking I'm pretty comfortable with how this is looking now. And the detail there I think is about as much as you're going to want to get, because you're just going to start losing all the other smaller parts. So pretty happy with that. I think I'm going to leave it at this point here, and then we'll come back and continue in the next episode with something else. So I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and thanks for watching.